Welcome back to Meteorology Matters, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at some changes happening at the National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration.
Oh,
Changes that could really have an impact on all of us.
for sure. Especially when severe weather strikes.
It's not easy to take weather forecasting for granted.
It is. We check our phones
Yeah.
for the latest updates, but most people don't think about the intricate network of technology, the expertise, the resources that go into creating those forecasts.
Yeah, it's a massive undertaking.
It is.
And NOAA is at the heart of it all.
At the heart of it.
They're not just telling us whether we need an umbrella.
Right.
They're the ones responsible for predicting and issuing warnings about hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, all the events that can really disrupt our lives, cause serious damage, put us in danger.
And the thing is, the National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration's role is becoming even more vital as we face the increasing reality of climate change.
Oh, for sure.
We're seeing more extreme weather events, more intense storms, and a greater need for accurate, timely forecasts to help us prepare and stay safe.
At this critical moment, though, NOAA is facing major hurdles.
Yeah.
Due to the efforts from the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE,
Right.
to cut costs and streamline government agencies.
DOGE operates under a mandate to reduce government spending and increase efficiency.
Okay.
Their approach, however, has been criticized by some as being too heavy-handed, particularly when it comes to the National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration.
So, for example, DOGE has pushed for lease cancellations on several key facilities.
They have.
One of those is the Center for Weather and Climate Prediction,
Right.
which is essentially the nerve center for the National Weather Service.
Right.
This is where forecasters monitor weather patterns,
Yeah.
analyze data, issue those critical warnings we rely on.
And it doesn't stop there.
Oh, no.
They're also targeting the Radar Operations Center in Oklahoma, which is responsible for maintaining and repairing the network of Doppler weather radars across the country. Those radars are our eyes on the storms, allowing us to track their movement and intensity in real time.
Yeah.
Without a fully functioning radar operations center, our ability to forecast accurately and issue timely warnings would be significantly hampered.
It's almost like they're dismantling the very infrastructure that keeps us safe from severe weather.
It's a concern.
And then there's the impact on personnel.
Oh, yeah. NOAA has already let go hundreds of employees, including many highly skilled specialists in forecasting research communication.
Oh, wow.
This loss of expertise is deeply concerning. We're talking about the meteorologists who interpret the data, the scientists who conduct critical research on weather patterns and climate change, and the communicators who get this vital information out to the public in a timely and understandable way.
To put it bluntly, this could have life or death consequences.
It really could.
Imagine a major hurricane bearing down on the coast.
Right.
And the very people we depend on to track the storm, predict its path, and warn communities in its path are no longer there. It's a terrifying thought.
It's a very real possibility.
And we don't have to imagine it.
No, we don't.
We're seeing the potential consequences play out right now.
Right in front of us.
A major storm system is currently developing with the potential to impact a huge swath of the country.
Huge.
We're talking severe thunderstorms, possible tornadoes, blizzards, heavy rain, the whole gamut of weather hazards.
It's a serious situation.
And this storm is the first major test for NOAA since these cuts were implemented.
It's a real-time illustration of how a weakened National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration could impact our ability to prepare for and respond to severe weather events.
This storm has the potential to cause major disruptions from widespread power outages to flight cancellations and even potential flooding. There's even a chance it could hit New Orleans right in the middle of Mardi Gras, which would put an enormous number of people at risk.
The timing couldn't be worse.
This particular storm highlights the urgency of the situation. We're already seeing more frequent and intense weather events due to climate change.
We are.
And a robust, fully staffed NOAA is absolutely essential to helping us navigate these challenges.
It's not just about knowing if you need an umbrella when you leave the house. This is about having the resources and expertise to keep Americans safe from increasingly dangerous weather events.
And the cuts go even deeper.
They do.
The DOGE has also targeted NOAA's advisory committees, which provide expert guidance on a wide range of issues, from space debris to climate change, coastal management, and marine fisheries.
These committees are made up of scientists and experts from various fields who volunteer their time and knowledge to ensure that NOAA is operating with the best available science and making informed decisions.
Terminating these committees further isolates NOAA and limits their access to vital external input.
The concern from many scientists and policymakers is that these cuts, driven by short-term budget considerations, will have severe long-term consequences for public safety,
Yeah.
the economy, and the United States' global leadership in science and technology.
The question now is, what are those consequences, and what can we do about them? We'll delve deeper into those questions in just a moment. But first, a quick reminder that meteorologist Rob Jones is a fantastic resource for staying informed about weather and climate issues. You can find him on Instagram at meteorologist, on TikTok at TV Meteorologist, and on YouTube, follow Rob Jones Hurricane. And be sure to check out the Meteorology Matters podcast playlist on his YouTube channel.
We'll be back after a short break to discuss the potential long-term impacts of these actions on the future of American science and what you, the listener, can do to stay informed and make your voice heard. Welcome back to Meteorology Matters. Before the break, we were talking about the pretty concerning situation at the National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration.
Yeah, we were talking about how these budget cuts and staff reductions could have real consequences for public safety.
Right.
As we face more extreme weather events because of climate change, it's kind of like trying to fight a growing fire with a shrinking hose.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy. Climate change is already intensifying weather patterns. Heat waves are becoming more frequent and longer lasting.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy rainfall events are leading to more flooding, and hurricane seasons are becoming more intense and prolonged. We need a strong NOAA now more than ever, yet it's being systematically weakened.
Yeah, it's a paradox, right? Just when we need NOAA to be at its best,
Right.
it's being forced to do more with less.
Exactly.
So what are the long-term implications? What are the experts saying?
Scientists are very worried about the repercussions, especially when it comes to the future of American science. The National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration has been a global leader in climate research and weather forecasting for decades. These cuts threaten to undermine that leadership and erode our ability to understand and predict these complex systems.
Yeah, it's not just about the science itself. It's about the people who do the science, right? The expertise, the years of experience, the institutional knowledge. Those things are so valuable and so difficult to replace.
Absolutely. These cuts are leading to a brain drain at Exertive. NOAA experienced scientists are leaving discouraged by the lack of support and resources, and talented young scientists are hesitant to join an agency facing such uncertainty. This loss of expertise and talent has a ripple effect impacting research innovation and our overall capacity to address the challenges of a changing climate.
So we're losing ground at a time when we need to be pushing forward.
Yes.
So what does this mean for our ability to understand and mitigate the impacts of climate change?
Well, it's a major setback. NOAA plays a crucial role in monitoring climate change, collecting vital data from around the globe, developing and refining climate models, and providing the scientific foundation for informed decision-making weakening. NOAA hampers our ability to understand the scope and scale of climate change and to develop effective strategies for adaptation and mitigation.
Feels like we're taking a giant step backward, both in terms of scientific progress and in our ability to protect ourselves from these increasingly severe weather events that climate change is bringing. And what about the economic consequences? We touched on this earlier, but I think it's worth exploring further. A strong economy depends on reliable weather forecasting.
You're absolutely right. The economic impacts could be significant, and far-reaching, accurate weather forecasts are essential for so many industries, from agriculture and transportation to energy production, and tourism businesses rely on these forecasts to make informed decisions about planting and harvesting, shipping, and logistics, energy distribution, even planning outdoor events.
If they can't rely on accurate forecasts, it can lead to disruptions, delays, lost revenue, and even put people's livelihoods at risk. Imagine a farmer who plants a crop based on a faulty forecast, only to lose the entire harvest to an unexpected drought or frost.
Or a shipping company that reroutes cargo to avoid a storm that never materializes, incurring unnecessary costs and delays. There are just a couple of examples, and let's not forget about the potential impact on disaster preparedness and response. If NOAA is weakened, we're less prepared to respond effectively to hurricanes, floods, wildfires, and other disasters. That means more damage, greater economic losses, and potentially even more lives lost.
It's a sobering thought, and it underscores just how interconnected these issues are. A weakened National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration doesn't just impact weather forecasting. It has a cascading effect on our economy, our safety, and our ability to cope with the challenges of a changing climate.
And it's not just NOAA that's being targeted. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, which plays a critical role in disaster response and recovery, is also facing significant budget cuts.
FEMA, the agency that helps communities pick up the pieces after disaster strikes.
That's the one.
They're the ones who provide shelter, food, medical assistance, and support to get people back on their feet, cutting their budget at a time when we're facing more frequent and intense disasters seems incredibly short-sighted.
It is. It's like dismantling the lifeboats on a ship that's sailing into increasingly stormy seas.
We've painted a pretty bleak picture so far, and I admit it's all pretty disheartening. It feels like we're heading in the wrong direction. But you mentioned earlier that we're not powerless. What can we as individuals, as concerned citizens, do to make a difference?
That's the crucial question, and I'm glad you asked it. We are not powerless. We can make our voices heard, and we can advocate for policies that support science resilience and a future where we're prepared to face the challenges of a changing world.
So what are the concrete steps we can take? Give us some practical advice. Where do we start?
One of the most effective things we can do is contact our elected officials and let them know that we support NOAA and other science agencies. Let them know that we value accurate weather forecasting, robust climate research, and effective disaster preparedness. Write to your representatives, call their offices, attend town hall meetings, and engage in respectful dialogue about these issues.
Make your voice heard. Make it clear that these issues matter to you, and hold your elected officials accountable for making decisions that prioritize science safety and long-term well-being over short-term political or budgetary gains.
Exactly. We can also support organizations that advocate for science and science-based policy. There are many great groups out there, both national and local, that are doing important work to defend science, promote scientific literacy, and advocate for policies that are grounded in evidence and expertise.
These organizations rely on public support to continue their work. So consider donating your time, money, or expertise to a cause that aligns with your values. Knowledge is power, and staying informed is crucial.
Absolutely. Stay informed about the issues. Read articles from reputable sources, follow experts on social media, and engage in conversations about these topics with your friends, family, and community. The more we talk about these issues, the more awareness we raise, and the more likely we are to see change.
Remember, change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, effort, persistence, and a collective will to push for a better future. But if we work together, we can make a difference. We can ensure that NOAA and other vital agencies have the resources and support they need to protect us from the storms ahead, both literally and figuratively.
This whole situation raises some profound questions about our priorities as a nation. How do we balance the need for fiscal responsibility with the importance of investing in science and public safety? How do we ensure that our leaders make decisions based on evidence and expertise rather than ideology or short-term political gain?
These are tough questions, but they're questions we need to be asking ourselves, and we need to be demanding answers from our elected officials. We need to have a national conversation about the role of science in our society and the importance of protecting the institutions that safeguard our well-being.
And we need to remember that this isn't just about science, it's about our values. It's about what we prioritize as a nation. Do we value knowledge innovation and the pursuit of truth? Do we prioritize the safety and well-being of our citizens?
The answers to those questions will determine not only the fate of NOAA, but the future of our nation as a whole. Welcome back to Meteorology Matters. We've been talking about some serious challenges for the National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration and the potential consequences of a weakened agency, especially as we're seeing these volatile weather patterns.
Yeah, we've seen those budget cuts, the lease cancellations, staff reductions, even getting rid of those advisory committees. It's eroding NOAA's ability to keep Americans safe and informed.
It's a concerning trend, and it really makes you wonder, what's next for NOAA?
Yeah.
We've discussed those impacts, on scientific advancement, our economy, even our ability to prepare for and respond to disasters. But what does all this mean for the average person, for the listener tuning in right now?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the first thing is we can't just sit back. We've all taken weather forecasting and those warnings for granted. We just assume those services would always be there. But what's happening with NOAA is a wake-up call. It reminds us that these systems, they can fail, and they rely on, proper funding experts and public support to really work.
So we need to be more engaged, more aware, more proactive, and advocating for the things that really matter to us.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about contacting our elected officials, supporting science-based organizations, and staying informed. But what are some other ways listeners can, make their voices heard and contribute to a more resilient future?
Well, one thing we haven't really talked about is community engagement, building resilient communities. It's more than just a strong national oceanic atmosphere administration. It's about having informed citizens, people who understand the risks, know how to prepare, and can support each other when disaster strikes.
So what does that look like in practice?
Well, it could be a lot of things, getting involved with local emergency preparedness initiatives, attending those community meetings about weather risks and planning, or even just talking with your neighbors about how to help each other out during an emergency.
It's about being prepared, where everyone understands their role in keeping themselves and their communities safe. And that's empowering.
It is.
It's easy to feel helpless when we see these big challenges like climate change or government funding cuts.
It's overwhelming.
But we can make a difference. Locally, build those strong communities, be prepared for whatever comes our way.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot we can do as individuals and communities to build that resilience, even while we advocate for change at the national level.
This brings us to something else we've talked about throughout this episode, trusting science. We live in a time when experts are questioned or even dismissed.
Right.
And that can have serious consequences, especially when it comes to things like climate change and weather forecasting.
For sure, science isn't about opinions or beliefs. It's about evidence. It's about observation. It's about testing and refining our understanding of the world. When we undermine science, we undermine our ability to make good decisions, solve problems, build a better future.
So what can we do to push back against all that?
Yeah.
To promote a greater understanding of science's role in our lives?
Well, I think it starts with education. We need to give people the tools to understand science, to evaluate information, and to figure out what's true.
Right.
And we need to make science more accessible, more engaging. It shouldn't be stuck in labs and journals. It should be part of our conversation, something that people feel connected to, something exciting.
And that brings us back to those science communicators like Rob Jones,
Oh, he's great.
who do such a good job, breaking down those complex scientific concepts, making them understandable, making them relatable.
Absolutely. Science communicators are so important. They bridge that gap between the scientific community and the public. They help people understand science, and they inspire the next generation of scientists.
So be sure to follow Rob on Instagram @meteorologist, on TikTok @TV Meteorologist, and on YouTube, follow Rob Jones Hurricane. You can find the Meteorology Matters podcast playlist there too.
It's a great resource.
So as we wrap up this Meteorology Matters deep dive, I think the key takeaway is this. We're facing some big challenges, but we're not hopeless.
Right.
We have the power to make a difference. Stay informed, engage with your communities, advocate for change, support science, and those scientists working to protect our planet and our future.
And remember, knowledge is power. The more we understand about these issues, the better we can handle them. Make smart choices and build a resilient future for ourselves, for our communities, and for generations to come.
Thank you for joining us on Meteorology Matters. We hope you found this helpful and empowering. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay safe.